Welcome to the Technology Toolshed Tech Tip of the Week, a face-to-face training on the best online test assessment practices. So for those of you who are unable to attend the face-to-face training, this is the e-training that I have created for you. Alright, so here in the Sam Houston State University Agricultural Sciences and Engineering Technology Department, there's a couple things we need to start learning and following when we're going through our tests. So you are your specialist and you know it. You know how to write your test, you know what your content area. I can't tell you that. What I can do is help you take the test you have and create the best online testing environment we can. Now, there's a couple things we need to know. One, I am here to help you understand how to use those practices and those best practices to do this. Two, I want you to be comfortable with using the Blackboard and the test component. And three, I want you to actually be able to create a test that you can employ. So this is what we're going to go through. Why do we do this? You have to think a little bit differently when you're dealing with online tests. No matter how secure it is, you always need to kind of have that mindset in the back of your head that it's essentially an open book test. Okay. Two, I know we like to use the true and false, or we like to use simple questions to see if they're getting concept. You kind of want to really avoid the true and false questions, and you want to avoid what we call the Googleable questions, or something. If the student has the question, they can just like type it into Google real quick, and there's the answer. It pops up. So if this is a true test, you want to kind of avoid those things. Now, if you're giving it as just like a review, a quick quiz, something that you're forcing the students to read, to do the assignment, that's different. But if this is a test, a serious assessment, like for your midterm or final, think about those kind of things. And remember, you want it to be a little more than just plain old memorizable. Now, what am I going to go through? I'm going to go through the emaze presentation, explain it. I will not be able to do the Kahoot with the online people because you obviously can't log in. If you want to learn how to use Kahoot, hey, ask me. I'll show you. It's a quick and fun way to do easy, quick, interactive quizzes with your students in class just to see where they're understanding. I'm also not going to show the answer boss and the different questions here. You can go look at them. And then I'm going to show you some of the different how-tos and stuff that we have created for y'all to use. All right, so let's just go straight into the emaze. All right, so we've already gone over that the purpose of this is to help you understand best practices because it is slightly different when working online than it is in face-to-face. If you want to have a little fun, go to the YouTube, Family Feud, giving all number one answers like a boss. And if you'll watch this, kind of gets the point across and it kind of gives you a little understanding and it'll make you giggle a little bit that sometimes students just get it, and sometimes we think they should just get it and they don't. So I kind of like to use this as just for funny, haha, hey, there's some questions to show you. Just because you assume you know what it is doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. So that's just an example. The thing about this is there are lots of different ways you can create tests. You can create tests for Blackboard using Microsoft Word. You can create tests for Blackboard using ExamView. You can create for tests for Blackboard just in Blackboard itself if you know what the question is going to be and you copy and paste. There's multiple ways of using it. And there are some best practices, some things we want to follow depending on what it is that you're trying to assess. And I do want you to be able to create a quiz. I want you to be able to create a test. All right, so next. Kahoot.it. And I'll show you what it looks like real quick. If you type in a game pin, if I log in, I have to log in right now, sign in. And I'm going to go to it real quick. So as a teacher, you can make different quick little ones that you want to go through and do. And you click on the play button. And click launch. It's going to give you a game pin, which for some reason this one is saying 000. So I'm going to say, whoa, that's wrong. So 62627. That's the game pin. So students will go to 62627 and enter, and they'll put in their name, just for funsies. And then you use the teacher once everybody's had a chance. You click Start Now, and the students get to see the screen. So it's going to load the questions, and everybody gets a chance to answer. And they can use their smartphone, any kind of tablet device, etc. So, oh, I love it when the question doesn't show up, right? Let's just guess right here. Oops. And that's just the Kahoot. Kahoot's just a little fun way of showing different things. So this is where it should be. See next. So they're logging in. So here's the next question pops up. All your students are in the course. True or false? Blackboard will automatically grade short answers for you. I'm going to say no. you go through, and it continues doing this as you're doing quizzes and you're answering it. So that's the purpose of Kahoot. It's just a fun way. And I have had teachers ask me, is it possible to export these if you actually want to take a grade? Yeah, you actually could do that if you wanted to, but it's just a fun, another little tool to use. All right, because designing a test, it's like in the real world, you have to ask yourself, why are you giving this quiz? What is the purpose of this test, this quiz? That's the number one driving purpose. And then what is your end goal? What do you need to use it for? And there's typically two ways that we're doing it. Either we're training the students on some kind of new subject matter they need to know, oops, or it's the education, the traditional model, where we're giving them the information, we're lecturing, we're explaining, we're going over the reading, we're doing some kind of project, and then we're going to test to see what knowledge they learned. So think of the training model as more something like a quick quiz method. It's more like you're reinforcing, you're reviewing. So think about those lovely little trainings that they make us do every year when we have to log in to MySim and go to the little quiz, and we go take it. And periodically, halfway through it, they'll pop up a couple of questions. So there may be 2 or 3 questions. They might be true and false. They might be multiple choice. But they're there to check for understanding and see, are you paying attention to what they're lecturing to us through the Adobe Capture or whatever that they're using to lecture to us through. I think this is truly, they're reinforcing the main idea. So the little mini quizzes. It might be something over something they're talking about the parts of a plant, and then you might pop up the plant and have them label it before they can go to the next part. It's just one question. They got to be able to label it. You may use it as a pre-quiz and then a post-quiz. You just want to see what they're doing. I used to use it this way in my class. I would always have 20 questions that we'd have to take at the beginning of the class, so it would be our start of the class, our quick quiz. And I didn't care if they used their books. I didn't care if they Googled. The point for me is it was specific information that I wanted them thinking about for what we were going to be doing that night, and I didn't care how I got them reading it and understanding it, by hook or crook, whatever it took. I wanted them to have looked at it, so they had to go find it. So these were things that I wanted them focusing on for that night. You also want to change it up. You don't want it to always just be the same type. Mix it up, make it different things. And if you're using it for check for understanding, only give a couple of them. And then if you want to see an example, if you Google Career Services by Davenport University, it'll pop up this cool little quiz here that you can follow that they've created. And it's only 44 seconds long, but it's talking to them, and then it tests the student's assessment. And based upon what they say, it goes to the next thing. So if you push play, so how long does an employer typically look at a resume for the first time? And so then you go through and you think what you think, and you click on it. And based upon what you answer, it'll take you to the next one, and then it asks you another question. And so that's an example of this training module. We're trying to find out, trying to get them going. It's not a traditional testing, but it's still a model. Now you have what's called the educational model or the traditional model. And this is to gauge the level of knowledge, what they've learned as they're going through. So it applies directly to the lesson. They're forcing the students to think. So when you come up with these questions, try to avoid something really simple and easy to do. Often these are referred to as like the math story problems, where you're testing their knowledge and comprehension. Always randomize it, mix it up. We got to think about cheating, and cheating online is a lot easier to do. I'm going to tell you right now, the minute you think that you have figured out everything that the students could possibly do to cheat on a test online, they will find another way, and then they're going to share it with everybody on how to do it. And as soon as you figure out how to break that one, they'll find another one. So it's a continuing process. So try to keep them from being able to do this or make it as complicated and as hard for as you can. Is to, one, always use pools of questions, and to always randomize your tests. Always, always, always. Another good option, and this is one that I've never done because I haven't done a lot of writing assignments, but you could have the students do some kind of ungraded writing assignment, like where you're going to give them a completion grade for doing it. So that makes it very low stakes, right? They do the assignment, they get 100. Yay. Well, now you have something to compare, so you'll know. Also, you want to avoid true and false questions if at all possible, because it's a simple 50-50 flip of the coin is too easy. And yeah, sometimes they're appropriate, but don't rely on them a lot. Okay, you may have a test with 50 questions in your pool. 2 or 3 of them are true or false. The rest are going to be multiple choice matching something else. And hello, I love it when it does that. There are some basics to remember, again, to avoid the true and false, avoid those Googleable, not something simple, easy. Always kind of give a practice quiz before you take a high stake test. So don't just automatically jump into Blackboard and give them their midterm and it's going to be a real high test for them. Make sure this is something that they've practiced throughout and try to follow that format to get them used to it. So give them a little chance to practice. When you get done, enroll as a student yourself and test the test to make sure it behaves the way you want it to. And always be prepared for a backup plan because it is technology and it will do something. So it may be something as simple as, okay, instead of giving them an hour to complete it, maybe you're going to give them 48 hours. So you're going to say over 2 days, you have a 2-day period of time to log in to take this test just in case something happens and system crashes. We know that happens. But you also want to tell them once you log in, you only get 60 minutes or you only get 30 minutes or whatever time limit. For mine, it was they would walk into class. I'd give them a little slip of paper with the password for the night. They would sit down at the computer. They would log in. The first 20 minutes of class, it was doing the quick quiz. After that 20-minute time hit, I logged and jumped right into the lecture for the night. But that was just for our quick quiz. And then whenever I would do my midterm tests, mine were always half written, half practical. So they would have to go online, and I'd give them a 48-hour window to take the written part. And then they would come to class at the time that it was scheduled for the test, and they had regular class period, and we would take the test. Same thing with the final. They would have a portion of it was online, and a portion of it they had to come in and do practical in class. So you have to decide how you want to do things. What I have done for you to make it a little easier is I have made some online resources for you to follow, so you can follow at your own speed. So I've been asked this one, so I did create this one. Just a little checklist to help you. So as you're going through, something for you to check off to make sure you're doing. Have you planned for something's going to happen? Have you planned for those cheating methods? Have you gone through? Have you, when you get to the test, you start creating the test. Have you gone through to give it a unique name, not just test one, because you'll forget, oh crap, it was test one over. Does it have a description? Do you have all these different things set up? And so I created that for you. I also have created before and again passed out previously the Respondus 101 help, how to use Respondus to create tests. And then recently I just created the basic one on how to create different things and use them. So if you go to Respondus 101, it'll take you to where there are the traditional print handouts. I try to do this for you for everything that we do. I try to give you a YouTube link also for everything that we do. So depending on what method works for you, you can follow the instructions or you can print them out and highlight them and follow them as if you follow the video. The choice is yours. Occasionally there'll be a resource file to download, and there's that little download file that goes with it. I have also given you one for, let's say you've created all your tests just automatically on Blackboard and you want to get them out. So here's instructions sheet, and here's a video on how to get them out. You have to use Respondus to do this. It's not just easy, just click download. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. If you use ExamView, I've showed you how to use ExamView and how to get it in there. And I created a little sub one, just a quick video on how to use pools. If you get a little confusing, because sometimes those little instruction sheets in the Blackboard online don't show you like what you would think one-on-one completely. I've had a couple of you tell me. So just a little supplemental to help you. And so I've created these websites to help you along as we go through. All right. Now, you do need to worry about a couple of things. 2008, the Higher Education Board did require that we go through and have processes that establish how we ensure the person is supposed to be taking it. And to meet those goals and how you can do them, this is how you do them, this is how we do them at SAM. You can use a password to lock your test. You can go in and set the time frame for those tests. You can use the Respondus lockdown browser. You can do a proctored test. You may schedule, let's say, just for the final. You may want them to sign in and proctor. You may want to put a Skype camera on them. You may want to use Tegrity. There's lots of different things, and we are hoping to maybe have some new proctoring stuff coming down the pipeline soon. As soon as I find out about it, I promise that I'll send it to you. And if you want to learn more, there's a link that'll teach you and show you a little bit more. Now, what we actually would do at this point is we're actually going to go into Blackboard, and we're actually going to go make a test. And what I want you to do is you follow either the Respondus 101 or if you're using the ExamView method, whatever method you want to use, I want you to actually go take and create a quiz for your class. Go create a test, go create a quiz. Remember, I've given you those instructional sheets, I've given you that little check sheet. Do that. And if you have any problems with it, feel free to come by and see me. Email me, call me, and say, hey, Rachel, come help me with this. I'm glad to do that. All right, I'm hoping this helps you, and thank you for listening to my lovely long lecture here.